Good morning. Welcome back to the Wildings Landing. This is going to be a long video. It's going to be a little lengthy and a little detailed, and I am very, very upset. I wasn't putting it together until my son and I talked, but yeah. I, for years, have bought bagged compost, the $3 bag stuff that you can buy at your local big box store. I have bought that for years. I have never had a problem. Never. This year, I got things planted when they were supposed to be planted, maybe even a little early. I did things right, and I am not getting fruit. My plants are stunted. They're not developing. I'm going to show you that in other gardens from starting in this garden. Like this is basil. This is an example. I had a tomato right there. See, I planted that tomato 4 months ago. Maybe. This is basil around it. It was planted about the same time. Well, no, this is May. It was planted late February, early March. Anyway, long time ago. These are marigolds, planted same time. All of this tomato. And it's just not progressing. Not at all. I have another example of that. Right over here. Ignore the dead kale. This is another example. My mint, this I think was planted in my compost. Almost sure it was. That just needs bigger pots. But here is another example. Now I have let the lettuce that was in here, there are a couple little things of it, but I've let the lettuce just kind of die back. But I planted lettuce and tossoi and these, and that's all I ever got. Same compost. Same compost. Behind me, now this was a mixture. This was a mixture of my compost and store-bought. That's why it has so many weeds in it, because my compost is in here. Actually, I think this was just old soil and I topped it off. But I topped it off with the store-bought, and these cucumbers are just struggling. At the same time that I planted these plants, I planted these plants that I have harvested several cucumbers off of that have been done fairly well. I'm going to string this one up and kind of teach it to go where I want it to go, because it was going off to the side. But anyway, these cucumbers, when I topped this bed off a little bit, I topped it off with our compost, the compost that we make. And like I said, I've harvested cucumbers and everything. A world of difference. A world of difference. Zinnias were planted in my compost that we made. It's absolutely beautiful cosmos. Just take a minute. Take a minute and enjoy that. Anyway, our compost, not store-bought. And I have more and more examples of this out in the field gardens, which we will go out and take a look at right now. Continued examples. These are our pumpkins. Watermelon. Do not look much bigger than they did when I put them in here, to be very honest. The ones that even survived. These watermelon were thriving. Not so much. Again, there's basil, and I companion planted some different things in here with them. Not thriving. And this is all store-bought compost. We have fertilized, we have watered, we have done what we do, and those are marigolds that were planted well over a month ago. Well over a month ago. These should be taking over this area, and they're not progressing at all. Again, in that store-bought compost. It is so frustrating because there's a lot of money tied up. Like, I was spending $50, $60 a week on this compost because it was easier for me to empty the bags than it was to create and sift through and work with our compost. When my son wasn't here yet, this was the easiest way for me to do things. And so, yeah. Alright, I've got some more examples of what store-bought compost did not do for me. Tomatoes. I started lots of tomatoes with my grandchildren this year. I wanted a big tomato garden. I wanted to be able to process a lot of tomatoes, and 99% of these are in store-bought compost. All of these were planted months ago. These were planted, again, probably the end of February. The ones that you see that are developing have our compost in them, which is few and far between. These tomatoes were all companion planted with basil, with marigolds, all kinds of things. And even, like, this is oregano. It should be crazy big by now. That's how big it was 8 weeks ago when I put it in here. I mean, we're talking, these have been in here a minute, and I'm not getting anything. And now, of course, we're getting to where our temperatures are too hot to plant these things. I was going to put a shade cloth over these, over this area, and have a big tomato garden this year. But it doesn't look like I'm going to have that tomato garden this year. It also doesn't look like I'm going to have my peppers or my tomatoes in my container garden where I just showed you, where I started this video off at. It is heartbreaking and frustrating that for weeks on end I spent good money buying compost to have the best crop that I could have, and this is what I end up with. Now see, this is an example of our compost. These marigolds they're producing. They're big. That one right there is probably a foot tall. This one right here is probably 8 inches. This tomato, although funky as all get out, producing tomato. But right next to it, this is a side-by-side example. This tomato is probably 18 inches tall, easily. The marigolds in it, a foot and a foot. Right next to it, basil and marigolds, and somewhere I think that was the tomato. I don't know. Right next to it. Side-by-side example of this compost not doing what it has done for years. I've trusted this product for a long time. And like I said in the beginning of the video, this is your inexpensive compost at your big box store. I bought it at Home Depot. I am so disappointed and so aggravated and so frustrated. I finally had a year where I was doing it right, where I was getting my seeds started really early, protecting them from the crazy freezes that we have had, doing everything that I should do, and this is what I ended up with. This happened. I'm just, again, here's another example. I hate to have my shadow in the, here's another example. This is our compost. Not bad. Dropping a little bit of bloom, but it's been really hot. down there, nothing. It is so frustrating for me. I literally want to cry. Literally. Because I had hopes. And now, my son and I were just talking about, now what do we do with this? Now, he's willing to replant a lot of this into the compost that we have. But we don't have enough compost to support all of them. To support everything I planted. Not of our own. Take this dirt, this crap, and pardon my language, but I am frustrated. Take this crap that I did plant in and use it to fill holes around the property. He wants to mix some of it with our compost, but we want like a 70-30 mixture of ours, 70 of ours, 30 of this. But yeah, it's just, this is beyond frustrating. Don't look at the rest of this garden. It's a work in progress. I'm doing what I did over and where I showed you the pumpkins. But it's a work in progress. And the whole thing was going to be tomatoes and peppers. And I'm just I want to cry. That's all I can say is I want to cry. And I don't have them now because I've already reused the stuff. But before it dawned on me that this was my problem, I had 40 cauliflower and 30 broccoli plants that never developed. And I didn't get it. I didn't understand why they seemed to be stunted. Not, they might have grown an inch from the seed tray to the pot over in the other container garden that I'm doing. And I didn't get it. I didn't understand. Same way with herbs. I wanted a big herb garden. We'll go over and see that I don't have a big herb garden. This is just an example of the herbs. Thyme. It's planted in that bagged compost. It's struggling. And I've topped it off with my compost. It's struggling. Sage. Nah. Basil. Nope. Not doing it. And this basil's been planted for a minute. It's been planted to where it should be so much bigger. Yep. Just not happening. This was oregano and cilantro. Just so frustrating for me. So frustrating. I had a whole nother tower right here next to this one there that was taller, that had all kinds of herbs planted on it. Nothing was taken off. Nothing was working on it. My son just took it down. He's like, I don't know what we're doing here, but it's not working here. Lettuce. Now, I know it's too hot now for lettuce, but that lettuce was planted in January. Yep. Same. By the way, those are my collards. They ain't looking too bad, are they? But that was planted in right out of the those I planted right in stuff right out of the chicken coop. Yep. My cabbage is, I don't think I'm getting much cabbage. We'll go over and take a look. It started to head up, but then again, this was mixed primarily with the store-bought compost, but some of mine from the chicken coop was in here too. It just never, these have been planted since late fall. I should have harvested cabbage a long time ago. Nope. I didn't. I won't. And I'm to the point now where I'm just ready to rip all of this up and say we start over with something else. We do something else. Ginger's looking alright, other than all the weeds. The turmeric behind it never came up, but the turmeric probably needs a shadier spot. But anyway, this is my discouraging, my very discouraging video, garden video for you. Just enough to make me cry. And it has. It will. Oh, just so upset. Like, what the heck? What the heck? Alright, folks. Well, thank you for joining me. Do all the things. Hit all the buttons. Do all the stuff. I love you and I appreciate you. And I'll bring you back. By the way, check out my shorts. Got a lot of chick shorts. If you don't follow my shorts, go check those out. Lots of stuff happening with chicks. And I've got that all documented on the shorts. Alright. Love y'all.